Welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. Hopefully your sugar crash did not crash you too far since you last listened to us on a Halloween episode where my co-host Mike was pelted with candy relentlessly all throughout the episode.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
And as your co-host Paul, I've been finding that candy all throughout my house ever since. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I had a different kind of sugar crash on Halloween than the rest of you probably.
A sugar rage?
Well, yeah, it was directly in my eye, the sugar rage.
Mike got triggered by getting pelted in the eye with some candy. Thank you, Nemo, which will have you back at some point in time. Well,
yeah, we're going to have to check her for candy first, though.
Yeah.
Any kind of projectiles I don't want down here.
Some kind of like candy detectors.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, it's November. We did it. We got through Halloween. We spooktacular'd our way here. And now we're approaching on a very, very loose theme of gatherings. Gatherings gone wrong. Welcome to November, leading us to Thanksgiving and all things family-oriented, gathering-oriented, and maybe some food orientation as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the theme we had discussed. I don't know how we'll see what happens with that. I don't know how closely we'll stick to that, but that's the idea. You know,
Mike and I gathered to share with you today 1995's Project: Metalbeast. Project Metalbeast.
Emphasis on the colon. This is actually kind of interesting because we were planning on watching a different movie, and it was removed from the streaming platform that we were planning on watching it on. So we had to pull an audible, so to speak.
We had to fancy foot and navigate.
So what you're going to get to see tonight, and I suspect this might be shorter than usual. This is you're getting a glimpse into a normal Saturday night for us, because this is the kind of movie that we would watch it that we normally wouldn't podcast about, but we were ready. We were ready to do it, so we decided to just carry through. But we just picked a movie at random from it was on Tubi, I think.
Yeah.
And that's how we came across Project: Metalbeast.
There are some extremely downs for this movie for me, but there are a couple ups that's not going to salvage it.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing about those, because
Well, I mean, going back to Halloween, October month, and Spookies, I kept saying, I love the first 5 or 6 minutes. This movie basically has two things for me. One, this is actually good and bad. And Mike, I don't know how you feel about this. The soundtrack to this movie is epic. The soundtrack, if it was mixed well into the film, is well beyond anything of this film. There are moments that are like honestly borderline Indiana Jones for me. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on in the soundtrack? It sounds sometimes audible. I don't want to like knock the composer. Like it clearly was not mixed by the composer. The soundtrack was awesome.
Interesting. I don't think I picked up on any of that.
Oh, but like the bummer moments for me were when I just couldn't really hear it, or it faded out weird, or it was like shifting channels and panning around. It was
there were several moments where someone would pop onto the scene and say something, and it was absolutely, there was no words. It was
and that's how the soundtrack was. Like
right.
Sometimes you'd hear these stringed instruments, this orchestral section, and all of a sudden it was just kind of gone. So there were moments that I was like, oh my God, like there was a real soundtrack happening here. The second thing is, which is, you would think a movie kind of focused on werewolves, and I'll read you the summary here in a moment.
would have a werewolf.
Right, like that would be maybe a dominant force of this film. It is not. But like honestly, there are some werewolf devouring human scenes that are epic. That there is about 5 minutes of this film out of an hour and a half, just werewolf attack scenes. 5 minutes again. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Just awesome. Like I'm not even joking around, like epically awesome. That and the soundtrack that should have been. Beyond that, you are left with 1995's Project Metalbeast.
Yeah. So I have the synopsis in front of me. Do you want me to read?
Yeah,
I know this is usually your gig.
That's awesome.
So there's a couple here. One is like 7 paragraphs long.
No, not that one.
I'm going to read the short one. In 1974, an unhinged CIA agent injects himself with the werewolf blood he found. After a killing spree, side note, the killing spree was one person.
Yes.
He killed an person. After a killing spree, his body is put in suspended animation, then thawed out 20 years later by his crazy boss and a team of unsuspecting doctors. And most of that is true. Most of that does happen.
And that sounds like a super fun premise. I mean, this is sci-fi on top of sci-fi on top of sci-fi.
They don't mention any metal, though.
No.
But that'll come later.
I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of my notes are people are just talking about stuff, and
Yeah.
sometimes I can hear it and sometimes I can't.
I stopped taking notes halfway into
yeah,
this movie.
Mike.
This is
Mike,
gonna be free
Mike,
form.
Yeah, Mike was pretty direct on. I got what's going on. There's basically one question I have at the end of the film, and beyond that, I did take notes, but scant notes,
Mm-hmm.
not the notes I would normally take, because honestly, there is a lot of talking and a lot of doing nothing. Again, you think you're about to watch this epically cool werewolf kind of sci-fi movie.
You're not going to do that.
No, but you'll see 5 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome. That's an A+ 5 minutes
Yeah.
that I put together in my own mind. But this movie is not going to be great.
No.
Even Mike, we've talked about doing shorter episodes and kind of labeling them as different things. We'll talk about it maybe sometime in the future. But I was like, no, we should totally go through this.
We're gonna give it the real treatment.
I mean, well, I actually said this movie will just be the thread to be the background of our conversation that, we could just talk about whatever.
And that's totally fine. Yeah.
Oh, so a couple things. I don't really have a couple things. Mike read the summary, but the director, which
Alejandro you want me to read this?
Giatano,
Sure.
De Giatano, which is my guess.
Yeah.
Sure. This person did a movie that before we watched this, I would actually be super into, but now that I've seen this director's work, I don't know, but maybe one day. The movie I want to watch by this director is called Scoring. Did you see this at all?
Yeah.
So it's from 1979, which appeals to me more with the premise. And it is an all-women's basketball team competes against a men's team in a sex-filled showdown where there's more than one type of dunking going on. All the innuendos inside or aside. Sorry about butchering all that. That seems like a way better movie that we watched. Like I looked up the director. There's a couple things that stood kind of as a side note to me. I don't know. It seemed kind of fun. I don't know. Yeah, some kind of like 19 or late 70s, early 80s to mid 80s sex romp. And I don't mean that for all like the sexual situations. Just there's usually just some goofiness and silliness happening. That is not this film at all. This film has 6 people, maybe 7, maybe 8. I don't know. How about this film has 10 people? Maybe half of them are like also the crew of the film. I just kind of feel bad for everyone. And
no one was happy to be here.
Yeah, and like there's a premise. It's cool. Like the premise holds up. I mean, in the loosest of senses, the execution is terrible. I don't know.
This guy has another werewolf movie.
Whoa, what? He's going back.
2010's Neo Wolf, directed by the same guy.
What's the premise of it?
The premise is 2 college lovers face an ancient evil when a strange rock band comes to town.
I'm way more into that.
Yeah.
Is it streaming on anything?
I don't know. He also directed something called Butch Camp.
What's the premise of that?
Stand by. Okay. Plot, Butch Camp, 1996. A closeted young gay man gets fed up with being pushed around and signs up for Butch Camp, a macho training boot camp run by a very butch lesbian.
It's a better movie than what we just watched.
More than likely. I don't think we can do this one though.
Why?
I don't know. Not for any real. I don't want to make jokes about what might be like something that's meant to be empowering to people.
Oh. Well, so you think this might be like a more serious film?
No, I mean, it doesn't look serious, but I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, if there's more serious undertones and there's like life-changing epiphanies. I don't want to like make fun of films like that at any point.
Yeah.
Not that this is the goal of Rabbit Troop Sucks by any means. Just today we're just looking at a film that just falls flat on its
this
face.
movie is stupid. I don't even know what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, it is the actors aren't doing a bad job. That I think it's just super low budget.
It was in 4:3.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the origin of this movie was.
It looked like someone was trying to make a pilot to something. Like this is going to be the start of something bigger. But the budget is so low, and there's a little bit of profanity. There's a little bit of nudity. It's just super strange. Like, and I'm not saying any of those things negatively. I'm just like, okay, so you have profanity and nudity to a smaller extent. Like, so now it's not in like the mid 90s or early 90s cable network showings.
Like at first I thought this was like a straight up, this is made for kind of a USA Up All Night kind of
right, but it wouldn't have this kind of language.
Then there was like some language, and then you see a dude's penis at one point.
Right, yeah, like the nudity is even sexual. It is just someone
like hanging dong.
Yeah, it's just like someone's like in the Luke Skywalker Empire Strikes Back, like
he's in the Bacta tank.
Yeah, just like regenerating, like someone's like put in like sleep hibernation, and
But they didn't give him the modesty shield or whatever.
Silly modesty shield. Yeah, so you see part of a dude's penis, and there's a couple swear words. Yeah, it's bizarre.
It is bizarre. Do you want to talk about the plot trajectory of this? Because the beginning of the movie was my favorite part.
Yeah, so the beginning of the movie, so I narrated that there's 5 minutes that I like. The beginning of the movie is probably 2.5 of them. And then for the next hour and a half, 2.5 minutes
right.
Come forth.
Yes.
Come hither.
So the movie starts in like 1970 blank.
Which there's no real indication.
No, I mean it tells you, but like other than that, but
I even want to say like the computers in the background were like way still early 80s. Like someone's like, oh, I'm just at like this personal computer.
When
like, boop, boop, boop.
So yeah, I mean the beginning takes place in the 70s, and then it cuts to quote unquote present day, which is the 90s, and nothing technological or backdrop wise changes. They just keep, everyone looks the same. The only actor of note in this is Barry Bostwick.
And Windows 95.
And he, I mean, in the 20 years in between the beginning and the middle of this movie, he doesn't age at all.
I mean, well, I'm going to ask you a side question because we're going to have to piecemeal some of this together.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was 20 years later until probably the last 30 minutes, so last third of this movie. Someone directly is like, it's been 20 years.
Yeah, they don't. They tell you the date at the beginning, but then when it cuts to the future, I'm pretty sure they don't mention it. You just kind of have to infer.
Yeah, I thought like maybe it's like the next 3 years, 4 years. Like honestly, so I didn't know this was in the 70s. That's why there's some personal computers and some stuff happening. That I'm like, that doesn't look like 70s stuff. Even at the most highest end. I also thought most of these people were police officers, CIA.
But I mean, a lot of people are wearing like nondescript military uniforms.
It's all like military, like underground intelligence and the CIA and everyone. I think there are 3, if not 4, corporals.
Everyone's something. Yeah. So this movie starts and we have like a bunch of commandos on a boat, and this is like 1974, and we see like they have the little like status update on the screen, like
yeah, I have a picture.
And so it was like 1974 CIA Operation Lycanthrope something or other.
Operation Lycanthropsis.
Sure.
U.S. military intelligence. Carpathian Mountains, Hungary, sample werewolf blood, and then another thing comes up. Yeah,
the next line after sample werewolf blood was create super soldier from werewolf blood or something.
Okay,
like that. And
so this is the first time that I was like, holy God, the soundtrack of this is epic. It is. I wrote, Goonies just found the pirate ship gold epic. There is a soundtrack that is happening and cutting in and out and panning like garbage. But it is, I mean, to the composer that Mike noted, It is so epically awesome. I was like, oh my God, someone gave you a script. You're like, I have an idea. This guy is gold. And this guy's probably like, this is the movie I scored. So,
this guy cashed the check ahead of time. He didn't wait.
I just kind of feel bad. I mean, this some of the soundtrack is probably very Indiana Jones inspired. Okay, that's fine. But the movie is not.
Yeah. I mean, I did not at any point in time pick up on music in this movie.
I mean, everything's
so that's how
cutting in and
impactful
out.
it was for me. So take that as you will. But yeah, so we've got these commandos, and they're in this boat in Hungary, and apparently in the universe of this movie, like they just know where werewolves are a thing, and they got to go get the blood. The boat that they're on. So we have these commandos. They're like fully decked out. They have like rifles and night vision goggles. And they're in a boat that looks like it's taking the hobbits across a river. There's a fucking lamp on it. It's like a gondola. Like it has like the front of it has like a stem with like an old timey like gas lamp.
Mike is not incorrect.
But they're all like they're hunched down like they're sneaking up on something. But it's literally like a gondola being pushed around by like a weird Italian guy.
Hey, Giuseppe.
Yeah, basically. And and they get into this. They go into this like castle. And there's two of them, the main guy and like some other lackey that gets killed in 3 seconds. And a werewolf jumps off of like a window and kills this guy.
Yeah, that so that is 30 seconds
Yeah.
captured in this film that out of the 5 minutes that it was surprise, I'm an effer. Like I am on the ceiling.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah, you didn't think a werewolf was here? You thought you were on a mission? You were wrong. And this werewolf just goes into this guy.
Right. While this is happening, his other commando friend is just sitting there watching it.
Yes.
And does not offer any assistance.
No.
Waits till this guy gets mauled and then shoots him twice and he's dead. And this brings up an interesting point because they're here to get werewolf blood to make super soldiers. Every time there is a werewolf encounter, they are killed immediately and very easily. At no point does anyone struggle to kill a werewolf in this movie.
Yeah. Also, silver bullets kind of are more alluded to later on. So my question is, if you shot a werewolf with a silver bullet, it would probably instantly or slowly start reverting. But then they grab its blood. Would that taint the sample of blood?
I don't know. Yeah, they shoot the thing, and then he hooks it up to like a weird dialysis machine in like a lunchbox that he brought with him.
Yep.
And then he just gets out of there. But yeah, I mean...
Oh, no, he shoots the soldier back in the head.
The soldier just to make sure he
Yeah, it's like, you're a bit, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to
shoot you in the head for
Don't want him turning into a werewolf. Yeah, I mean, maybe there's silver bullets. Probably that is alluded to later. But also at one point, they take down a werewolf with a fire extinguisher. So
I also note that.
Yeah,
it
doesn't seem like a big hardship.
I don't think that is what we think it was, but I think it was totally a fire extinguisher.
It was 100% a fire extinguisher.
Well, I mean, we saw a fire extinguisher. I think we were meant to believe it was
in the canon of the movie. We were meant to think it was some kind of like sci-fi silver misting device or something. Because
wrote everywhere. I don't know what's happening.
That's most of my notes.
A lot of surprise moves. This movie's got it all.
It has a bit of everything. Yeah,
Barry Bostwick.
It does have, and we see him next. Like the weird agent that was in Hungary is now back at like some kind of secret U.S. establishment
with his partner Butler. And
is Butler Barry Bostwick?
No. Butler becomes the werewolf.
Oh, Butler's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Barry Bostwick, I'm going to give a shout out. I just feel really bad for him in this film. And I'm really not joking. He's a villainous character, and I kind of dig what's happening because it's very X-Files-y. It's, I want to see, where the serum goes. I studied this. My partner did some weird stuff. I'm going to be in some weird tube tank where I look at, people who are frozen. I study, lichenology or whatever the hell we mentioned before.
Right.
But he's a total villain and he's kind of cool.
Yeah, he's fine.
But I can't really hear him most of the time and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's like at any point in the time in filming, they had one microphone.
Oh, yeah.
And it was in like a weird corner of the room. So when the person furthest away was speaking, you could literally not hear anything. But then the person they're talking to sounds like they're screaming. It was fun. It was fun to watch.
And Rabbit Troop sucks. If you want to send us like high-end microphones,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Like you could hear my ice cubes of the iced tea that
You'll
I'm
have
drinking.
to spend some money because we got some good stuff here. So
Yeah.
we want an upgrade.
Like a silent ice cube maker, so you can't hear my ice cubes. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't even know where to begin with this movie. So basically, they track down this werewolf. It has been noted. They've extracted blood.
Yeah.
They're now at some CIA headquarters base.
Yeah.
I don't really know where.
It doesn't matter. They've got the blood. There's a lady scientist, and she's like, "This is different blood. I don't know."
Yeah, and so she's also burning through the blood. Like we're analyzing this, and this other, what I thought was a cop, but it turns out to be, I think,
like
another CIA agent.
Yeah, he's the guy from the beginning that shot the other guy.
I thought that was Barry Bostwick.
No,
Oh,
that was
yeah,
this guy.
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah, so he's extracted the werewolf blood.
Yeah,
he
wants to use it to weaponize, and he's like, "You used it all for your dumb science."
Yeah, and she's like, we got to go through some of this. And he's like, you left me with nothing. So his ultimate plan, and I think in Mike's description from IMDb, was an unhinged CIA agent. Like, just immediately was like, I'm going to inject this into myself. And he has the weirdest effing dialogue. I'm going to go through some of my notes.
Okay, I didn't write any of this down.
I wrote some of just the notes of his dialogue because it's like, he's a Highlander himself. I'm going to live forever. We're going to dominate the world. This would be super dope. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what? What is it? Like,
Oh yeah, he goes on this weird diatribe of like, "I'm reversing millions of years
Yes,
of botched evolution. I'm invincible." Yeah. But so he injects himself, and like you can see his hand starting to turn, like a scientist.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's changing me. That's one of the quotes.
Yeah, like everything's tingling. I can smell things. A scientist like down the hall cuts her hand, and he can smell the blood, and he goes after her.
Yeah, he says, "I'm going to become a new kind of warrior."
New kind of
Yeah,
warrior.
you don't want to say that shit in 2020 and above. I'm going to become a new kind of warrior. No,
Right, and then
no.
here we get to the rampage that was forecast in the synopsis.
Oh, I'm going to live forever.
Yeah,
I wrote crazy talk.
just without the Queen song, so it's less fun. Yeah, he attacks the scientist, and then Barry Bostwick comes in and shoots him, and then that's the end of his rampage. And so Barry Bostwick, I'm just kind of speeding through this because this part sucks. Barry Bostwick puts him on ice. He puts him in like the weird Star Wars bacta tank, and just hides him away. And then we fast forward like 20 years later.
Which I only knew at the end of this film.
Correct.
But yes, as trailblazers as we are, we went ahead and told you, let's fill in the gap. It's 20 years later.
Right.
Boom. And now Barry Bostwick is a corporal, and there are several others. So
Corporal's pretty like he's something else. He's like a special guy.
But he is a special guy, but I do think they reference him as corporal because he is also dealing with a general on a base.
Colonel, maybe? Because
He might be a colonel.
Corporal's
Yeah, he might be a colonel. Yeah.
second year. I don't know.
But I think there are several colonels.
There was a lot of people. Again, like what branch of this is not like they were wearing effectively Air Force uniforms, but no one had stripes. I mean, I don't think it matters in the context of this movie, but it wasn't clear.
Legally, one day we're going to have to get our friend Rami on here because Rami's going to break it down. I've tried to tell Rami numerous times that he has to watch the final episodes of the original X-Files, and there's like a corporal hearing, and it's like on a military base. He refuses to watch. I understand his high ground. He's a better person for it, and he's a better person for probably not watching this film.
Yeah, when most people would be. Yeah, so what happens? We're in the current day, or 20 years later. We have some scientists in the same facility working on some kind of like weird metal skin for some reason that's never explained.
Yeah, there's really two scenes going on. So we have the lead, Dr. Anna. I can't remember her name.
It doesn't matter.
She was in like a billion soap operas. I looked her up.
That's not surprising.
Well, I looked her up because I was like, this name sounds really familiar. And she's like in like, I think it was like Days of Our Lives, All of Our Children, maybe like a different soap opera. It was like two major soap operas, like Jag or something like this. Like she was in a bunch of stuff. So she's like this dedicated scientist and kind of doctor, kind of X-Filesy.
Yeah.
So awesome. Here's your Scully. Great. But she's got some kind of boyfriend who's working also on this military base. She's calling him, and I kind of have figured out over this film when they're calling each other. So like there's a break room. We see this later on. There's like a pinball machine, a pool table, various other things.
Yeah.
So the boyfriend calls Dr. Anna and is like, oh, you're going to come down. She's like, no, I'm working on this, like this mutated skin or like this project. I don't know. And then he's like, bummer. And he goes back to playing poker. And one of the friends, I think the quote is like, she's not going to do anything unless it's with that artificial skin, which is like some kind of burn on the dude.
Right.
Also, I also feel they're working 7 rooms apart. They're clearly on the same military.
100%. Yeah.
I thought this was like a long distance call at first.
I did as well, but then like he
It's
just
like
walks
downstairs.
over. Yeah.
It's like, you're like, you're on flight 4.
Right, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Fuck.
Mike loves this film.
Yeah. No, it was fun.
Let's get together. Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Roast that turkey.
Someone's got to. Yeah. So Barry Bostwick shows up again, and he's kind of being a dick. He's like, "Hey, I want your research. You're doing this metal skin stuff." And the scientist and like there's I think a military guy who maybe outranks him, but maybe doesn't.
Yeah, it's a general. He totally outranks him.
But I mean, I kind of inferred that like Barry is from like some kind of special CIA thing.
I agree. So he is both military because they
Right.
do recognize his level, which is
I mean, I don't think it matters what he is, but like it's implied.
Colonel?
Maybe it's implied that he has like some authority.
I think he is a colonel and he has gone up the ranks, but he is also CIA.
Yeah, I mean, none of this makes any sense.
I don't know if you work in the military and you know any of how this works, write us.
Yeah. Feel free to correct us. We could use an expert because clearly we're not.
Not in this film.
No. And he's like he wants the research, and I don't even remember what his argument is, but they're like, no, we're making metal skin out of tissue and stuff. And he's like, fucking shut up, I want it. So they make some kind of deal to do something, and I think they concede that they're going to install this skin on someone as a test.
So,
but they don't.
So Barry Bostwick basically informs the scientific community, again, getting together, things have gone wrong, that you will do these things or I'm going to cut your funding.
Yes.
And that's, so they don't want to do it, but they're like, well, we're not ready for human subjects. He's like, I think you are. So here's a little mixed note that I have is I don't disagree with Barry Bostwick to an extent because they're like, we're totally not ready. We've done this experiment. The skin starts hardening. I don't know what's going on. We need to like sector this and analyze this. He's like, I think you are ready. And I'm like, wow, you're a villain. He's like, but I'm going to bring you cadavers. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's not like real people. Alive people. It's, you could work on human tissue. And I was like, oh, well, like that kind of makes sense. They're like, how dare you? Like, this is awful. Like, we can't do that. That's not real. And I was like, I thought that was like a actually honest middle ground.
Yeah, he's trying to he's helping.
Something like we're like gathering up people who are like going to be mutated on the streets. Let's see how this like. Maybe we have donor bodies. I mean, This is a legitimate thing. This kind of actually makes sense. Like they're saying we're not ready for human tissue, and he's like, "Well, I'm not going to give you living people. It's
right. It's a dead person.
Right.
No one cares about this guy." So he gives them what they believe is a cadaver, but it's actually the crazy guy from the beginning.
You call him Holy Diver.
They gave Holy Diver shows up. And. They start operating on them. They start like grafting some skin. They think this is a cadaver, not the suspended pseudo corpse of a werewolf person.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe even skipped over pages in my notes.
Well, this is where I stopped taking notes.
Well, I was like, people are talking. People are still talking. People are talking about talking about talking.
And you can't hear anything. So they're doing this operation. They're doing some skin grafts. They're putting the metal skin on, and they start to realize that this is not a dead person. They find some bullets in them and they dig them out. Do they realize they're silver at the time, or?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, basically, they're working on a cadaver that reanimates.
They think, they think it's a cadaver, but so they pull the silver bullets out of him, and as soon as they do,
they're like, he's bleeding, he's
right,
breathing.
Like he starts kind of coming back to life.
Yeah,
he doesn't have the silver anymore.
Dr. Enner's like, put him on oxygen.
Yes, they shove like a McDonald's straw up his nose and tape it to him. I mean, basically,
Yeah.
And yeah, and he kind of starts coming back to life, and they freak out and they go yell at Barry Bostwick about it because it was his fucking idea.
Yeah, he's kind of the overseer throughout all.
Yeah,
of this.
he's like creeping around. He's looking through the mirror.
If you want to liken this to
mints.
X-Files, he is the smoking man.
He is the smoking man, but he doesn't smoke and he shoots people.
I guess, yeah. I don't even know where you are. Like, I think Mike has a few more notes, but I'm trying to just go off a timeline. Like, there are so many moments of this movie where people are just talking about nothing. And the problem is the audio is cutting kind of in and out.
Yeah, you can hear maybe a third of the conversation.
Yeah, like, I mean, it is outwardly like you, the audience member, have left the room and maybe part of your right ear captures a few words of a conversation, but you're now piecing this together and you're like, I think this was important to move the plot along.
But was it? And like, no,
probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so they get all the scientists out of there. Barry's talking to the werewolf guy. He's like, the werewolf guy's kind of hallucinating, sort of remembering. And Barry's like, I brought you back,
Yeah,
buddy. You got some metal skin now. You're gonna do it all. And then then we kind of cut back to the scientists, and they're all freaking out, trying to figure out what to do. And again, this is where I stopped taking notes. You might have to add structure to a lot of this.
probably. So we're introduced to another character somewhere in this movie. I was only interested because the lead, Dr. Anna, who seems somewhat concerned about what's going on and is shut down every which way. All of a sudden, she is with her maybe roommate and best friend forever. I don't know. I just wrote
the other female in this movie.
I just wrote vodka. Vodka roommate is kind of my
Okay.
So there's just a scene where maybe I'm skipping ahead where all of a sudden we see Dr. Anna. She's had a hard day at work.
Mm-hmm.
These things are happening. And all of a sudden, vodka roommate is like pouring vodka into a glass like, you need this. This is how you need to decompress. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, is this on the same base? Is this an apartment?
I think it all took place on the same base.
I agree. So all of a sudden I'm like, who the hell are you? Where did you come from? And it's just vodka roommate. And vodka roommate survives. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Vodka roommate actually is a computer hacker that knows everything about this base and all the computer ins and outs.
Mm-hmm.
And is one of my favorite characters instantly because it was, I'm going to pour vodka. I know how this works. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, again, like highlighting that this is all taking place within feet of each other. At one point, like Barry's talking to the scientists about whatever, and they're yelling at him, and he's like, yeah, "Fuck you guys, I'm important." And he walks down the hallway to like a secret door. I mean, it's just a door that says like, "Please keep this door locked." But he like types his code and he goes in, and that's his secret like zombie tank room. It's literally just down the hall from where everyone is. Like this all takes place on one floor.
I mean, this is X-Files to the core. It's, you didn't go to the extra bonus basement. Oh, that's
Right.
where we got the
It wasn't even the
alien
basement.
autopsy.
This was like 3 doors down from where they're all.
Well, here's the sign was up.
Yeah.
People respected it.
But yeah,
These
like,
are
well,
nice workers.
Keep the door locked. I'm not going in there. What is this?
I just always assumed it was his bathroom.
Right. This isn't Spookies where Duke has to go in every door.
You can't always jump through a door.
No, not here. I mean, I don't know how much you want to say about the rest of this because I don't have notes. I mean, I can just like burn through what the rest of this movie, because the rest of this, it moves fast now because nothing's really happening.
Oh yeah, lots of talking. I have notes like just characters' names like Ferraro and Deanna.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know your name halfway through the film.
Yeah, I mean, it should come as no surprise to anybody. I don't know any of these people's names.
Yes, that is true.
And nor will I make an effort to ever. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talking. Can we just jump to where they start formulating a plan to kill the thing?
Yeah,
Do they know it's a werewolf yet? Not, they don't know it's a werewolf.
Okay,
yet.
they've offed a doctor. We should note that they've offed like Dr. Anna's friend.
Oh, this is the classic scene where like he's the thing is the guy is strapped to the table,
Yeah.
and the guy like turns around and then he turns back around and he's not there anymore, and then he gets werewolfed.
There's also a scene that I kind of think I didn't hear. Damn it.
Yeah.
That doctor, the male doctor, one of the two male doctors,
Like the bald nerdy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's calling Dr. Anna, and the roommate friend, who I think is Deanna, is like, don't answer it. Like, just like it's not.
We got vodka to drink, lady.
Yeah, it might be the same scene. I have no idea.
No one
It's
knows.
just, yeah, who cares? Like,
Yeah, no, this movie's fucking stupid.
yeah, this movie just goes off the rails like instantaneously with low budget, and I cannot highlight enough the sound of this movie is off-putting. But yeah, he's trying to call, and then yes, the werewolf is doing a little disappearing, nightcrawler act,
Yeah.
and like vanish, like where is it? I feel bad for this guy. I like this guy
Yeah, he
because
sucks.
like later on, like Dr. Anna's like, that's the only person that I got along with. Like, damn it.
Oh yeah, work buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, so that this guy he kills this one nerdy guy, and then they kind of start to realize what's happening. I don't know at what point they realize that it's a werewolf, but they recognize that silver is needed, and they start like making these homemade silver artillery shells.
Also, Dr. Anna becomes a master, like a lock picker.
Oh yeah, she does pick a lot of locks.
She does.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, I was gonna say it was a montage, but it's not really. But like, they're making these silver artillery shells. They have like a bazooka that they got from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that was a questionable boyfriend. I don't even know that guy's name. Like boyfriend character, maybe. I don't know. That guy has like that launch loaded like stack lock. Like I don't know. Like you press it in like an accordion and then it bounces back. That kind of rocket launcher. Like you also have to put a rocket in it, and he has that. I don't know where that came from.
They're making them. They put this. They got
Sure.
they got the silver rockets. Yeah, I mean, the rest of this movie this sucks. I mean, they chase the thing around. It kills a couple more people, and they hit it with a fire extinguisher at one point. I mean, like, again, if you want to talk about structure, you got to narrate because I don't have any notes. I can fill in things, but
Let me go
but
through.
because I'm ready to just end this.
Let me go through a couple of notes.
Yeah.
So the one doctor is like highlighting, oh no, his skin is too hard.
Oh yeah. Oh, because he has metal skin.
Yeah.
He's the metal beast.
Sort of. Yeah, I guess.
yeah.
Like, I'm not doubting Mike. Like, sort of, as a viewer or viewers, we have no idea what's going on. There's questions I have through, like, is this like a Wolverine situation? So, like, Wolverine, X-Men, like, he is able to adapt to the skin because he has, like, lichen blood, and now he could do these things. Who the hell knows?
Yeah, they gave him like 3 skin grafts, and now he's covered in metal.
Right, yeah. So a corpse is now alive. No one knows what's going on. And part of it, to the core, I'm like, this is super cool. If you ever explained anything, they don't. Again, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything that happens. Is they don't explain anything.
No, nothing's explained.
I'm trying to even go through notes. Like, I don't know. This guy's changing. It's a lot of changing.
Yeah.
Bodies are changing.
Bodies and seasons.
Yeah, yikes.
And outlooks.
That's a. Oh, I do have that. There's werewolf art on the wall.
Oh, like the slash paintings.
Yes,
Yeah.
I note that 4 slashes. I don't know. I have Dr. Anna does a bunch of stuff and talks to no one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good scene.
I love those scenes.
Yeah.
Mike, let's talk about the upcoming Christmas.
Okay.
maybe we get some sponsorship. You love going to a certain market off of 16th Street Mall. Talk about the market.
Oh, we're abandoning ship here and
Well,
talking
I'm
about
trying to go
Christmas
through
markets.
some notes.
Okay, yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, the upcoming holidays, we have Thanksgiving coming up and then Christmas. The Chris Kindle Market is what he's referring to. It's like it's Denver's kind of German marketplace. I think it's in Civic Center Park now. It has been for the past couple of years, but it's fun. They have like German beers and like, I mean, a lot of like shops. Some of them are kind of like tchotchkes kind of stuff, but there's some handcrafted goods. My girlfriend and I always buy like an ornament or two or like a new nutcracker every year. Some kind of fun Christmas decoration. They have great pastries and food. Some live German kind of music.
Doesn't that start at the very end? Like I think like the week after Thanksgiving.
I think literally Black Friday is when it starts.
Nice.
I mean, it goes on for a month. It's super fun. I've not missed a year. It's a must go for me anyway.
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say we should talk way more Denver things. If you're listening and you're in Denver, kind of, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, Denver. I have jumped into notes.
Okay. Yeah. What do you got now that we're through with the
so
Christmas
a scene I like. I don't even remember how we got here. Dr. Anna is walking off, and the werewolf is in the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of garbage that happens that leads to the werewolf just being aggravated, which is unknown.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're a werewolf and just you're ballistic.
Yeah. I mean, we were basically just talking to each other about shit at this point in the movie and not really doing anything.
But I like there's scenes like it just appears like boom.
Yeah.
And again, there are like, honest to God, 5 minutes of this film that this werewolf just tears through people.
Yeah, the werewolf is on the screen for 3.5 minutes. Also, the guy that played the werewolf, not like the actor from the beginning, but the person who was in the suit. He was he played Jason Voorhees in the 7th and later installments.
Wow.
Yeah. So like Takes Manhattan and later he was Jason Voorhees, but not the original 6.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, in this elevator scene, I'm down. This is again like another 30-second, maybe 60-second sequence where the lead, one of the lead characters is all of a sudden it's boom, this werewolf is in front of you, and you're like, holy God. And as the elevator door shuts, like as soon as it tries to like reach out, it is a dynamite scene. Like again, I'm nitpicking 5 minutes out of this film, but this is one of the few. This is what this movie should have been all the way through it.
Yeah. I mean, effectively every scene where the werewolf is killing people is pretty dope.
Yeah, it's just ruthless. I mean, there is no just, oh, I could fire a gun, I could react. This thing is just on you. Like, it is just a 250-pound force all up in your face. I don't care if you have a gun, I don't care if you have a knife. This thing is on you, biting you, scratching you. It's 5 minutes of this film.
If that.
And whoever did all that stuff, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are basically my notes. So one of my questions, I noted this earlier, was how do they actually defeat this character?
So
I basically just started looking up in the air.
There's like a final showdown in like a warehouse, because of course there is, or like a sub basement or a garage or something, and they start just wantonly firing these rockets that they've crafted, and they hit like a pylon and some concrete falls on them. And the werewolf is like trapped for a minute, but then he gets out, and then like Barry Bostwick shows up and he tries to shoot him, and the werewolf gets up and ragdolls Barry Bostwick across the room, which was actually pretty fun. And then I don't remember who. I think it was your vodka lady, or maybe the original scientist. But she loads the rocket launcher and. Oh
wait, there's a debate too on how to like end this character. It was vodka lady versus Dr. Ann.
Okay.
I can't remember my notes. It was like Dr. Anna wants a showdown for some reason. Like she just straight up's like, we need to meet this character.
She wants vengeance. She wants like
we're like meeting the streets.
Okay.
And Vodka Lady's like, we need to trap it and get the hell out of here and just leave.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of this?
No, I do not.
It was the only sense of reason. This is why I love Vodka Lady.
Right.
Vodka Lady is like, we need, like, logically X, Y, and Z. And Dr. Andrew's like, no.
But yeah, but they don't.
Showdown in the streets.
Whatever they're talking about doesn't really happen, because then the showdown does happen.
Right, correct.
And they just they shoot a rocket at this thing and it explodes into fucking spaghetti, and then the movie's over.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically it.
Right.
I don't know if we need to like embellish anymore. I mean, I'm just making this up as I go. I stopped paying attention to the movie.
Mike
30 minutes
stopped
in.
taking notes long ago.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened.
This is like the real mystery of this film is the sound editing is basically the most terrible thing I've ever heard. A movie that could even be jokingly assembled and put into a podcast or whatever maybe could have been a thing, but it is not. It is just, I mean, you could hear half the dialogue. That's the thing. I was trying to note, I think earlier, and maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, or maybe it was another podcast episode where I said, you know, some of the mixing of like HBO, or maybe this is just a side conversation, Mike, you and I have had. HBO's mixing versus Netflix's mixing versus Hulu, etc., is different. HBO, I always have to up the volume of everything I'm listening to.
Yeah, same. I mean, the sound is great, but it's the volume starts low.
Yeah. So with this, it was, so that's not like a super knock at HBO. It's just, it's mixed differently. And if you kind of know that, just increase it and everything works out. This was come as you are. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, no one made an effort here. I don't know what this movie was made for, when it was, like, I don't know what the intended audience was. I don't think this was a theatrical release. I mean, it really played like a made-for-TV movie. It might have been like a made-for-Cinemax thing from the 90s.
Sure. Showtime, HBO.
Yeah, maybe. Like,
I
I genuinely don't know, but this does not read like a movie that was made for the theaters, and the audio is cut as such.
Yeah, it is. It is bad. Yeah. The only regret I have in this film is Mike did not pick up on the epic soundtrack. I mean, Mike, I'm not even joking. If you just go back and watch the first 10 minutes when they were like going through that weird
in the fucking boat
swamp, and then all of a sudden they're in like a Guy Fawkes like kind of like escape room winery. Like I don't know, but the soundtrack really tried. The composer, Mike noted, which I don't remember that person's name.
Did I note this person?
I thought you looked the person up.
I don't think I did.
Well, just solid attempt. I mean,
yeah,
it was. I'm really not joking. It was such a good attempt.
I feel like I missed out now.
You didn't.
Yeah, no.
Because,
okay. Well, I'm never going to go back. So
you ejected from this film.
I did. Yeah, that's correct. But I'm surprised we managed to talk about it for as long as we have, though. So that's, good for us.
Do you have any werewolf film that you actually like? I have a couple.
I think the only werewolf film that I can think of off the top of my head. Well, okay. So I like American Werewolf in London. I think that's pretty fun. I sort of unironically like most of the Underworld movies, which the bad guys, the quote unquote bad guys, are werewolves in that.
I mean, are there 4, maybe 5? Have you watched all of them?
There are 7.
Oh my!
I think maybe there's just 5. There's a lot of them though. There's more than you think. One came out in 2017, which seems more recent than I would have thought.
Who is the lead of that?
Kate Beckinsale.
Is she in that?
I don't know. I don't remember. I know I watched it, but I don't remember. But yeah, I mean the first one with like Scott Stapp, whatever. There was Scott someone in that movie. It doesn't matter. But yeah, the Underworld ones are fun. American Werewolf in London, I like. Other than that, no.
Yeah, American Werewolf in London, I love.
I like the song Werewolves of London. Okay.
Let's cover it.
Okay.
Silver Bullet.
What's that?
a Stephen King. It's a short
God.
story.
Okay.
But it's an 80s thing.
Was there a movie made out of it? Okay.
I only know the movie. I think it's based off, I don't know, 20 pages of a Stephen King.
That's the correct amount of Stephen King pages, because he's not the author for me, I'll be honest, but
that one's fun.
I like his short stories better.
Yeah, werewolf stories are difficult.
Yeah, other than that, like, I'm sure I'm missing something.
I think Christina Ricci is in Cursed.
Okay.
I think it's that. I remember overall liking some of it. That's not the greatest applause to that film, but I mean that's a rough genre to get into. Skinwalkers, I think also Stephen King, not my favorite.
Okay, so
Johnny and Santo,
there's
Sleepwalkers.
There's a recent movie called Werewolves Within, which I like. There's a lot of silence here. So it stars. I don't know the actor's name, but it's one of the guys from Veep, and the big titty chick from the AT&T commercials. I don't know what her name is either, but those are the two main characters. Yeah, that's some good info there. That's a movie that I liked. Teen Wolf, I guess, could be considered a werewolf movie, which I like.
Michael J. Fox or the MTV reboot?
I've never seen that. The Michael J. Fox.
I'm Canadian.
You're Canadian?
Boot.
A boot?
I think it's a reboot.
Oh, I see. So this is a movie that you and I have both seen that I like, and I know you like as well. Wolf Cop is another good werewolf movie, which in hindsight we should have just watched tonight and talked about.
Wasn't there
Wolf
another
Cop
film?
is fucking great.
I thought I took another picture of another film that we should have watched as well.
Yeah. It was after this movie wrapped up. It's like, if you like this, you might like this, and this movie looked way better.
Yeah, I just don't have it.
Yeah, okay. It was like something.
Damn it!
It was like Space Beast or something.
Oh yeah, it was like an alien space beast encounters some turbulence and crash lands on Earth. And Space Beast its way out, or tries to, I don't know, but it seemed way more infinitely better.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I do have, this is like a legitimate recommendation. This is a movie that came out maybe 20 years ago. It's a French movie, so you got to read it. It's called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever seen this?
I've seen this once.
I like that movie quite a bit. It's like there's like a lot of kung fu for France, but I thought that movie was pretty fun.
Yeah, that movie is like a fairy tale.
It is like a fairy tale, correct? Yeah, but that was enjoyable for me. Yeah, I can't think of really any other ones.
Well, later this month we are looking into, what would we say, like groups got together and things went wrong.
Yeah.
So the old Thanksgiving trip. What do you think we should be looking at?
I don't know. We had talked about I don't know if we should mention it now ahead of time, but the movie that we had talked about, I think, would be a fun one.
Oh, for Thanksgiving proper?
Yeah. Well, I mean, totally. Even for Thanksgiving Day or
Chris,
otherwise.
You're gonna join us.
Yeah, Chris, if you want to help out with that, that's great. No, that would be awesome. But yeah,
we got to send Chris some craft brews.
Okay. Yeah, we'll send him some 10-2 beer. I know that's something he likes. There's actually a bottle of bourbon that I need to send you, Chris.
And a shot glass.
And to fill the shot glass up with. But yeah, the idea for, with Thanksgiving, you often have to suffer through your family, a group of people who, maybe arguments ensue. So kind of our thought for November movies is like, gatherings gone wrong. So if you have a suggestion, obviously you drop us a line, rabbittroopsuckpodcast@gmail.com. We check that, I think, from time to time.
We do.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the thought going into this month. Obviously, both of us really like Christmas. I don't know if that is a surprise to anybody, but we're not really going to do a lot of Christmas stuff. We'll have
one.
We'll
one
do
or two.
We'll do one or two.
Yeah, I think one or two. This especially this first year.
Yeah,
One or
yeah.
two.
But it's not.
Two.
It's not going to be like October where there's a Halloween movie every week.
Yeah, we're not doing Home Alone 1 and 2.
No, and we never will. I mean, those movies are great. We can't. I mean, I will talk about those movies to
Let's
anybody.
just get together and just talk about
Yeah,
it.
but like this isn't about doing just like gush sessions about movie that we like. But yeah, so there'll be some stuff coming up for the holidays. Yeah, do you have any additional thoughts about that, or about this stupid movie, or about werewolves in general?
Werewolves, I love. This movie executed everything incorrectly. As far as Christmas goes, yeah, we'll do one or two because this is our first year of podcasting, and we want to share the Christmas joy in the weirdest of ways. But there is not infinitely as many Christmas movies as there are Halloween and kind of fall-esque films, sci-fi, horror, drama. But there's some things I want to get into as far as films go.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Oh, just as we are closing out the Halloween month, did you watch the second Hocus Pocus movie?
I did.
What did you think of that?
I liked it.
Yeah. So the guy that's in it that owns the magic shop,
Oh, yeah.
he is the main character from Werewolves with Him.
Who's also in Veep.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if nothing else comes out of this episode in this piece of shit movie, watch Werewolves Within. I thought that was fun. And Paul, if you haven't seen this, I'll watch it with you. I don't know if we want to do an ep about it, but it's worth watching.
I would totally do this.
I saw this movie in the theater. Shout out to the Mayan Theater. I saw it in your shitty, uncomfortable seats, but it was worth it because that movie's good.
You're never gonna have the nooch.
No, I'm not.
If you don't know what the nooch is, I don't know what to say.
No.
Denver, Colorado. Hey, might give you the Gmail, might give you the Instagram, might give you the Facebook. I don't think we have Twitter. I don't want.
No. We're never doing Twitter. No, fuck that. No. We also have a website, rabbittroopsucks.com. That's where you can buy T-shirts.
You can see photos.
You can see photos. Yeah, you can see what we look like if that was concerning for anybody.
You people get away from me.
And you can also stream us from the website too. If you don't have a preferred platform, or if you're very old and don't have a phone.
Well, it's fantastic, Mike. I've learned more and more that people are like, "What is a podcast?" And how do I listen to it?
Right.
Could you give any technical advice?
No, not for free. That I can do it for money, but not for free.
If you need a link, just please God, just tell us.
Yeah, if you want to listen to us, just and you don't fully understand what this is. I don't know how you're doing it now, but if you have like someone that's elderly in your life and you want to recommend this, just have them go to the website. They can just listen to it right from their Altec Lansing computer speakers on their Hewlett Packard or whatever you still have.
I'm still going to be picking up candy for the next.
You're going to find Olive Garden mint everywhere.
Thanks, Nemo. Rabbit Troop sucks.